Okie dokie, there we go. Nice to see everybody. Good to be back. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week, because it's the end of the week and you got nothing to do on weekends unless you work like 12 hours a day like most of us do. Joining us is another hard worker, a busy bee. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Lachlan Cross. I just called you Busy Bee. Nice to see you. How are you on a Friday? You all right? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I have been burning the candle
Midnight
at both
oil?
ends, the proverbial candle. Yeah. It's
That's what happens
yeah,
sometimes.
It
You
changes
get
at
these, like,
work,
periods.
right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm trying to be positive about it. And although
Yes.
it's interesting. I've watched changes. I've watched change, and I've watched change from different perspectives in my career.
Yes.
And it's funny. It's funny how certain types of personalities end up doing okay in change, and then others don't. And it's also, and again, I got to take a step outside of myself sometimes and realize that my views, my idea of who somebody is and what they get and what they don't get might be skewed based on my perceptions of that personality. But the thing that I've been very, I'd say, troubled by lately is that
Conor David's performance in the playoffs?
No. I understand that. That makes total sense to me. The thing that I don't understand sometimes is how somebody who is, I'll just say it, is a piece of shit benefits from certain situations.
Is this where we're starting? Is this where we're starting? Where you're taking an anecdote from the life that you're currently dealing with change in your life, in your work life, and you're going to, anonymously name someone who's been pissing you off for a long period of time in that process? Is that where we're starting today? Just say yes.
That is a bit selfish, now that you point it out. I may have been hyper-focusing on a couple of things.
You may be bringing your work life into the podcast a little bit, or you're like, I'm going to start out by telling you a story about someone I can't name, and a story that pisses me off because I got to get it out because I'm OCD and I have to deal with this right now.
Well, it doesn't pay to be a good person. It doesn't pay to work hard anymore. It just doesn't. I wonder why I continue to sign up for it,
because in this process of change at work, you've taken on extra responsibility, and you see other people who are not good people also taking on more responsibility or being elevated, and it's pissing you off. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. They make more money.
Okay, so we're starting the show with workplace resentment. Is that what we're starting? And it's about money. It's about the money someone's making.
Here you go, Locke. Here's an extra 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
And not listen,
no more
I'm
money.
the guy that signs up for it. I'm the guy that goes, hey, I'll help you out with that. But then another guy wanders into the room where you're in 2 days later and goes, did you hear so-and-so's making $80 an extra day? And I'm like, for what? What's he doing?
I get it. Okay. Let me see.
You understand what I'm saying?
Not really, but let me see if I do. So changes at work. Everybody's taking on extra responsibility. Most times when there's contraction and they say, hey, you're really important in this place of work, we're going to give you this extra responsibility because we really trust you, Lachlan. You're a good guy, got a great goatee, you look cool in a black shirt, like all that other stuff. And then they don't pay you for that extra work, right?
Yeah.
But down the hall, someone else has been asked to do the same thing. And they're getting
even
paid
in another
extra.
building, it doesn't matter whether or not it's down the hall. It it just sometimes it's weird. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very petty. It is.
And for
and
me,
to start a podcast like this means that this has been bothering you for some time. Like it's creeping up in your head. And
we
you're like,
just
I need
spoke
to
about
start
how
talking
much
about
time
this right now.
you waste dealing with other people's problems.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
Okay?
we just.
So I didn't want to do that to you, and I've left you alone because I know you're really busy right now. So
Yeah.
this is the only time I get to be petty.
Oh, we're doing. So this is podcast, but it's also private phone call time with you and me. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, unload then. I'm good. I'm here for it. Tell me more.
Anyway, listen, I'm gonna work it out. I really will. But it's infuriating sometimes. And then that conversation goes, he's making such and such, and you're like, really? And then you go, okay, well, how does he do it? And then they tell you what he does, and then you find out as well that they're doing exactly the same thing you're doing, except someone said, let's pay that guy. Lock?
Dude, why would they pay you for free? Like, here's the other thing that I don't understand is in situations like this where there's physical change in workplace, whoever doesn't get swapped out, meaning whoever isn't get fucking pushed off the boat, fired, gas pedal, deep sixed, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There are people that are still around that don't get fired that are like, maybe I can ascend to that position. I can get a little more control. I might be able to do a little more in that job. And then they go and ask for it, right? Where they're like, hey, if you need any help, and it's a smart thing to do if you're in the workplace, really smart.
Yeah.
Hey, sir, ma'am, if you need any help, I'm here to take on that responsibility because I believe in what we're doing here. It's like the fucking most manipulative thing employees say. And then there is an off chance that that person's going to say, you know what, Lachlan? Great idea. We could really use someone with your expertise in music in this area, that area. Would you mind stepping in and helping out? And because you're a good guy, and because you're thinking, hey, I might be able to ascend to a different position, or I might be able to get a little extra money.
No.
I'm not
I don't
saying
want
you're
a
saying
position.
that. I'm saying that generally speaking, this is how people think, right?
I learned a long time ago. Management is not a path for old locker.
No, but be careful what you ask for because you might get it. And on top of it, they might not ever fucking want to reimburse you for it. Because here's why. You've agreed to do it for free the first time. Why would they want to pay you the second? That's the thing. You never say yes to extra stuff unless you're like, and tell me how this is going to work for me financially again. That's where you should have started. You should have said, hey, listen, I'll take on extra responsibility, but let's see a little good faith here. Like, oh, Locker needs a case of beer a week, or get me a car, or something cool like, or an extra.
But I didn't know that was on the table.
Right? Probably isn't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it probably is. But, not for me. It was for others. Who
maybe that says something.
I happen to judge harshly. And so the thing that bothersome for me is, one, I'm really trying to get past that judgment piece. And it's been very difficult. I'm going to save the planet rules, my 3 steps to saving mankind.
Not really.
1, figure out who you are. Okay. Right. 2, figure out how to live with that person. Get comfortable with who they are.
Like them.
Yeah. And 3, stop fucking worrying about what's happening down the hall, across the street, in the next house to you. Stop the judgment piece.
Well, your last point, it stands in direct contrast to why we're actually spending 8.5 minutes. I didn't say
I was fucking good at it.
Oh,
I said I'm working at it. I'm pretty good at 1. 2's been a struggle at times, but I'm getting there. I'm probably ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
And then 3, okay, someone brings up the book. Have I had time to write in my book? No.
More resentment.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't know how you're even on this podcast.
And the other problem is I kind of enjoy this. Like, I enjoy this.
The resentment? Like the pettiness, you mean? Or the drama? The extra work? What do you enjoy?
I don't want to admit that. I enjoy being busy. I enjoy what I'm doing because I know I'm making an impact. I can make an immediate impact by having been engaged. And I really like the situation I'm in right now.
Well, why can't that be enough?
That's what I'm struggling with, Dean.
Okay.
Right? I'm struggling with being told that, all right, have you heard that so-and-so is doing the same thing we're doing? They're getting paid. And I'm like,
comparison
And
living sucks.
I think people do it to me because they like to see if I'm going to stroke out in front of them. Like I do think there's an element of that.
Yeah.
Because you do it. You fucking wind me up just to see my head pop, like go red.
Not overly intentionally. Sometimes I do it. But dude, what you're talking about is a problem that everybody has. Let me break this down for you. Let me get a little psych 101. Comparison living is a terrible idea, right? You asked for extra responsibility at work because there was some movement in the org structure. And they're like, Lachlan's great. Let's give him this. And you're like, okay. And then you find out that little extra work's like 10 more days, 10 more hours a day. And you're like, ooh, that's a lot. But what you're doing is affecting change around you, right? Like you're
which I enjoy.
Exactly.
And I didn't have a problem with it until I heard about one specific example.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and then I was just like,
you know when you're going to be happy? When that conversation doesn't even register in your mind of what someone else is getting that you're not. When what you're doing is enough. I don't know what it's going to take for you to get there, fella. I really don't.
But maybe you know what it is?
Maybe some more yoga, maybe some meditation.
I got to get past. I got to do yoga today. I got to get past my issues with certain types of people and certain types of personalities, right? And the thing is, in our business, you get very self-centered individuals, and they're all about themselves.
Right.
They're takers, and they gravitate to our business for whatever reason. And it's a little bit of a, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's an overall personality trait of people in radio, but there is a certain element of it in this industry. And those people I find infuriating. I find them very difficult to coexist with.
Why do you let them bug you?
I'm working on that.
That would be the question I would ask. Because that's the thing that a lot of people, and again, not getting into how to make everybody's life better in less than a couple minutes because I'm Dean. It's none of those things. It's not stoicism. It's like, if I know that I can't affect change with somebody, I don't even bother, right? If someone annoys me, I just let them be themselves and I write them off in my own head. Because there's literally like the only person I don't have to live with that jack off. I don't have to live with the guys at work that you work with. I don't have to live with any of those people. I got to live with me. So when it comes to that kind of shit, I just write it off. Like, fuck, I could care less what anybody else makes. And more importantly, like the whole thing, and this is like what you're talking about is like a disease of society. It's like a fucking pandemic in itself. We get really, really angry as people when we see other people who we think are pricks succeed. But we subject them to our value system, which actually might not be the same as theirs or anybody else's. So really all we're doing is making ourselves fucking crazy with a bad value system. That's it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to what other people do, it has no bearing on your fucking satisfaction in life or the job you do or the job you bring to fruition. And it's, you know what? I'll tell you something. I work on it every day. It's incredibly hard. Like one of the things that's bothered me for a long time, we'll talk about Fox News in a second. Guys like Tucker Carlson that are worth $350 million, who is an absolute blowhard,
piece of shit,
terrible fucking broadcaster, just his relationships, who he knows, the influence he curates, and the guy made bank. Now, has he been canceled? Has he been outed as a fucking virulent racist recently? Absolutely. But now that's his to bear, and he will bear it forever. He's still got $350 million, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing this for hundreds of millions of dollars, but I'd be lying if I didn't look at a guy like him and go, that cock. Or back when John Ghomeshi was a big deal and I knew all about John Ghomeshi. I'm like, how the fuck is that even possible, right? But we can't do that. We comparison live, and when we start doing that, we fuck ourselves. And it becomes this like incredible treadmill in our head where we're going, fuck that guy, he's got more than me. How did he get there? Look at me, I'm struggling. I have a struggle to pay the bills. I
don't struggle.
Well, I know that.
I don't struggle.
But we act like we do. Like you know, even if it's $80 that someone at your work got that you didn't, it'll piss you off on principle. Why? You don't need it. And it's impossible to fucking revert out of that emotional state back to someone who's like, hey, I'm focused on me. Everything here is fine. My needs are met. I don't care about my wants. Do I want 80 extra bucks? Sure. But fuck, dude. 80 extra bucks. The second you get it, it's 60. Number one. And after that, who gives a fuck? Like dude, your bills are paid. You live in a warm house. You got a great wife. Kids are healthy, happy. Got a killer job. You make good dough. You do a podcast with an idiot a few times a week. You got a dog. You buy 28 beers every week for $40 and no one tells you what to do. I mean, fuck, life can't get better than that in my mind, especially if you love Bud Light.
All those things are very good reasons to move on and not dwell on it. And I do that self-talk, right? But I can squirrel on certain things, right?
I noticed because we started the podcast with it. It's been 15 minutes talking about it, and I enjoyed it. So thank you. Appreciate you bringing it up.
But we all have our crosses to bear, right?
Sure.
We were talking about you and how much time you give to other people, and then how much those people take advantage of that because they know that you have the type of personality where you want people to feel like they got something from you, even raging pieces of shit. So you'll dedicate a bunch of time to talking to somebody that you don't necessarily have to. And then you sit there and struggle for the week because you're behind because you didn't get your work done. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it happened today. Happens every day. It drives me fucking crazy because I'm a people pleaser and you're not. I mean, I get it. It just is what I am.
I don't have that bug. I don't have that
and
disease.
I don't either. As you can tell, if you ever go on my Twitter feed, you're like, Dean, if I like you, if we're friends, it means a lot to me and I'm very accountable to those relationships. And I give those people all kinds of time. Everybody else, I don't care. Like, could give two fucks. I put out a Fox News tweet. Did you see this news on Fox News? The news on Fox News broke yesterday. Look at the numbers on that tweet too. Fuck, I was happy about that.
This can't be real.
Oh, it's totally real. Canada's CRTC is discussing pulling Fox News off the air. Like, I don't give a fuck about Hannity. There's one of those guys. Look at that cretinous piece of shit. That guy's worth $500 million. Like $500 million. He's just an awful human being. He works for a terrible fucking media company that makes billions of dollars a year lying to people. Anyway, so the deal is the Canadian government is doing a public consultation through the CRTC, and I'll get to the CRTC in a second, which is a wholly useless organization. But it's the Canadian Radio and Television Commission. It's the governing body of bullshit that you watch and listen to up here on television and radio stations. So bottom line is there's a group named EGAL, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. EGALE. I'm not too sure. It's one of the two. But I'll bring it up for you so you can see it. If you go to Crier Media, crier.co, you can read it yourself. But there is a fucking movement, and it is actually serious, to ban Fox News from the airwaves in Canada. And as I say in the piece, I fucking hate censorship, but this group, EGAL, is lobbied successfully the Canadian Radio and Television Commission into activating the idea that they need a public consultation, which is a big deal. The CRCT doesn't do this very often, to open up part one of an application for the removal of Fox News from the list of non-Canadian programming services authorized for distribution. What does that mean?
This is Bill C11.
Yeah, the CRTC has a right to remove absolutely any television station from its offering of public and credible television stations that are allowed to be put on service providers here in Canada. So Bell is a cable provider, Cogeco, Fox, Rogers. All of those companies have a list of other channels that they represent for other channels around the United States, around the world. So you get Chinese television stations. RT, if you remember, got banned here in Canada shortly after the convoy, right before the war, just as the war started. And there's a movement here to remove Fox News in the same capacity. And it comes on the back of a lawsuit from EGAL, who is saying that not only are they a disinformation outlet, which they're absolutely correct, but they have farmed and participated in hate speech against the LGBTQI2S LGBTQI people and issues. So there we go. It is actually a distinct possibility that Fox News gets removed from your cable package. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to talk about it because holy fuck, this tweet with the story that we launched yesterday on this exact issue has close to 750,000 page views now. And there's immense interest, I think, because you can take the temperature.
I didn't
from
read
stuff
your
like that.
article. What did
Yeah.
you say in the blog? Can you give me a
I
Cole's
justified it. Yeah, like listen, part of it is like I'm not a censorship guy. I'm really not. Like I think other than RT, because we all know what that is. We all know what Chinese state television is too. But there are some dangerous news outlets parading around as news outlets that are not news outlets, that are specifically just used for propagating and propagandizing and feeding information to a tribe or a group of people for the purposes of affirming their bias and radicalizing them. That's what Fox News is. We all know that. There have been several examples on top of lawsuits, on top of Rupert Murdoch, Tucker Carlson, Maria Bartiromo, Laura Ingraham, and the litany of Fox News hosts who have been sued for lying and creating disinformation, not to mention the Dominion suit that cost Fox
not just talking about it, but creating it.
It. Like that's, and I made that distinction in the post, is that in my mind, I'm all about good information coming in from all over the place so we can suss it out ourselves. But in my mind, Fox News has figured out a way to carve out this niche where people believe that they are actually delivering news despite every assertion from them in a court of law that they don't, that it is about, as Rupert Murdoch says, it is not black or white, it is not blue or red, it is green to me, meaning it's just been about money the whole time. And they've really been that nexus. You know what I mean? That nexus is disinformation that not only people go to legitimize. It's almost like once they put it through Fox News, any news story or any conspiracy theory, it legitimizes that conspiracy into something that might be newsworthy, but it really reaffirms the bias and the position of radicalized people that believe that kind of stuff, right? Whether it's, you know, how angry they are at black people for, you know, allowing themselves being choked to death on a New York subway. That was the narrative from Kayleigh McEnany today. And then she made fun of the guy who got murdered, the black man who got choked to death, saying at least he had rhythm because he was a subway dancer. If it's not Tucker Carlson lying about some culture war or doing an O Canada piece about how tyrannical this shithole is and how we beat the shit out of people with horses and batons if they don't go to bed on time. You know, it's just been this fire hose of disinformation. And it is legitimately, and we know this from statistics, we know this from leveraged analytics. Fox News, disinformation, intentional misinformation, Rebel News, National Post, Post media companies are the biggest social, societal danger that we face today. And Fox News legitimately legitimizes all of it, like absolutely all of it. So in my mind, for the safety of the people in this country, I don't think Fox News should be anywhere. I think it should be taken off of, I think it should be banned from our socials. I don't know how you do that. I think it should be geo-fenced out of Canada. I don't know how you do that. And I think we should fucking figure it out because there are so many people who love hearing that messaging because it really reaffirms their bullshit. But
no,
dude,
you got the wrong.
Well, I
think you have the wrong.
I don't think so.
You're coming in it from the wrong door. I think the right door to come in at it from is, and this is my perspective, because they are susceptible to that messaging because of their anger from the other side. So they're so angry, and it's even more prevalent in the States than it is in Canada. They're so angry at their perception of the left and that negative sort of idea in their mind that they've glommed on to that messaging from the right. And this is, I've said this before, and it's pissed off people, and I've gotten backlash from it. The division that we face in this country and in the States is everybody is equally to blame. Everybody. Because how we've engaged in communication back and forth has caused the rift. And the more we limit access like Fox News to that audience, the worse it's going to get. So you're not getting rid of the problem, Dean. You're just making it worse.
Oh, and listen, in the post, and I'll read this to you because it's true. I that's what I said. I said, listen, Fox News isn't going anywhere. Like Bell, Rogers, et cetera, they all put up a fight when they had to get rid of RT because it makes money, right? Like people want to fucking watch that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're never going to stop the proliferation of information coming into any country. Like anybody who loves Fox News can go out and get a VoIP.
They're going to find another
avenue. Absolutely. They'll figure it out. They'll find a way. I think largely it's performative. I've never watched a second of it. And the stuff that I have has been out of context, been on the news. But you and I both know they're a highly irresponsible, shitty fucking news outlet.
Yeah.
That literally is monetizing and creating hate messaging. Yeah, I know.
I'm not legitimizing it, and I don't understand how it's so successful. I'm baffled by it. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I had the same opinion about Trump. I hate the man. I can't stand him. Mm-hmm. But I was like, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Don't take him off Twitter. All it's going to do is just inflame his base. It's just going to prove his point. He wants that. Mm-hmm. Strategically, he looks for it, right? Mm-hmm. He wanted the guilty verdict in that last case. He wanted to be, served papers. He benefited from it financially, and I think also in his race to run the Republican Party again. Like, some of this stuff can backfire on you, and it drives me crazy that both sides are unwilling to accept the responsibility that they have for it. Today, Justin Trudeau went on and on and on about Pierre Poilievre and about his slogans and his messaging, and I'm like, oh my God, really? You don't see what you've been doing the last 10 years? Like, you don't realize. And he doesn't. I don't think he does.
Oh, total
I just
hypocrite.
think he totally thinks he's right. And he completely, he thinks he's actually the solution to all of our problems. And you know what? Listen, PP is doing what he needs to do. He's playing by some playbook. I don't know enough about the man to know if I think I haven't figured out if this is just a game or if he actually believes a lot of this bullshit, but he's playing the game really, really well. We're dealing with it on a microcosm in Alberta right now too. With I was talking to a friend of mine and he is like so wildly angry about Danielle Smith because she's leading in the polls. And I think it's also personal because a lot of his family has said out loud to him that they're going to vote for her. And he's losing his mind. And I'm watching the two of them and how they're debating and how they're presenting their platforms. And I'm like, oh my God, Danielle Smith is so winning right now. She's going to win. She's going to...
Which is unbelievable to me.
Because Notley doesn't know how to fight.
But here's the thing. I don't want to talk about Notley. I don't want to talk about Danielle Smith. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about politicians. I want to talk about the help that they get from fucking media. And the media in this country has been as complicit as Fox News. They've just done a better job of it. And someone said that to me today, because when we put out that post about Fox News, right? When we said, hey, listen, I think there's room to fucking have a conversation about canceling that television station and not allowing Canadians to watch it. But I also fucking hate the idea. Someone said, well, what's the difference between Canadian news outlets and American news outlets? And if you take the content away, not much, right? Not a lot. I mean, Fox is just brilliantly bold about how much of fucking lying, how big of liars they are. They don't care. They don't care about what they say. They don't care about what it comes out. They only care about feeding the
machine, might be caring
feeding
now.
the anger. I still don't think they do. I know they got rid of Tucker
someone
Carlson.
Cares.
I don't know if they do.
I think when you lose $785 million, somebody goes,
continuing to put up the same tripe all the time. Now, if you looked at it from Canada's perspective, let me just throw this out there, okay? Stick with me, everybody. We'll get there. In Canada, we have the same issue. But Fox News is not representing Canada. We don't have a mass appeal mainstream media outlet that acts like Fox News, purveys disinformation like Fox News. We have a bunch of little shitty ones. Like we've got Rebel, we've got True North, you got the douchebags at Western Standard that shoot deer off their balcony and steal money from the government, that kind of stuff, right? So you've got those little ones. They're generally out west. Got some of it out here with Canada Proud, but whatever. You've got a bunch of little ones. Canada
Can you
doesn't
pick
have
a more racist name
than Canada Proud. They should just call it "White People Should Rule the Earth." That's what they should have fucking called it, Canada Proud. And that Jeff Ballingall, the guy that owns it, he's one of the dudes that helped start the Proud Boys and helped start Rebel News.
I know.
And he's just human guard. He's buddies with the guy who started Proud Boys. Proud Boys, by the way, just got hit with seditious conspiracy charges in the United States. Like they're going to jail in a federal pound you in the ass prison for a very fucking long time.
I did read that.
Like, long time.
Yeah, some of those guys are going down.
Yeah, Enrico Terrio.
It's a little disturbing how many of them are Canadian.
Yeah, I know. They all went.
Isn't it? Does that bother
like the guy
you?
who started it? I mean, Gavin McInnes started the whole thing. But those guys were literally like they cut their teeth on shit from Fox News. They're emboldened by disinformation. They need it. They want it. They want to confuse people, right? So we literally have a fucking disinformation problem not just in this country, but in North America that has caused so much division, so much hatred, so many beatings. Like you know the spate of kids that were getting shot driving into the wrong driveway in the United States last week. Do you remember that? A couple of girls got shot, a teenager. One of the gentlemen, he was like 78. He got charged for shooting a cheerleader for pulling into his driveway because she was trying to do a 3-point turn. And when he was asked in court, they said to him, "Hey, Lester," that was his name. "Hey, Lester, why did you shoot someone just pulling into your driveway?" He goes, "I watch a lot of Fox News, and I'm telling you, we need to protect ourselves because they're coming for us." That's what he said. It's literally what he said. And the radicalization process is no different up here. It comes from the same people. So listen, bottom line is that Fox is never going to get taken off the airwaves here in Canada. People will always be allowed to watch it. But the fact we're having this conversation,
we might do it because it wouldn't.
Go ahead,
Dean. It would not surprise me if they did it, and it would be a massive mistake. Would be a huge mistake. But
because of the ammunition it would give everybody else to go look at Canada, that tyrannical censorship society.
Ding. And we have there's a certain mindset with that side of politics. You're too dumb you're all a bunch of idiots and we're going to take care of you. And it drives me crazy. They put too many signs up. There's too many laws.
Yeah.
There's like, you know what? Like literally I can take it down to politics again. I know you're bothered by this, but they paid this guy thousands and thousands of dollars to come from Australia to do a review of the streets and the traffic situation in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. And this guy is a professional. He's an urban technology expert. That's why they hired him. So he comes into town and he says, "You guys, you gotta stop. There's too many signs. The speed limit changes constantly. You guys created these roads for flow. Let them flow. Stop. Bike lanes are fine, but bike lanes need to go where bike lanes actually work. Stop taking out traffic, like roads, to put bike lanes in." This is an expert. This is a guy that gets paid thousands and thousands of dollars to give his opinion about how cities are built and flies around the world. Presents his document. Boom. They promptly went, "Yeah, no, he's an idiot." And they completely ignored him. And they are going through with all their plans. And then they lowered the speed limit. This is right before the speed limit. They lowered it to 40 right across the board in the whole city.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't do it. You're just going to cause more problems." The unintended consequence of it. So this is the world we live in right now. The people that are in power think they're so much smarter than everybody else, and that they have to do all these things to protect us from ourselves, and they keep causing more issues. And then they go, hold on, we slowed the whole city down. It's 40. Why aren't there less accidents? Well, because now people are driving like fucking assholes around the speed limit, and they're causing more accidents. We put up more signs. Why are there just as much problem? Because people are so confused by what you've done. No one knows what to look at.
Yeah.
And this is the world we live in. And unfortunately,
but you
don't have any solutions.
No, but you touch on something fascinating, right? Like, we live in a world in a time where cultures and government really do represent cultures. The government of the day will represent the culture that actually won the election. That's pretty much it. That's where we live. So accept it. Where they all want to be preventative and sell their preventative policies to us like they're good for us. But the irony is, we live in a time, I really do believe this, you might not, where some people need to have preventative measures put in place for them because we've been outed as having really fucking stupid people walking among us that contribute negatively to society and the way that we operate. So I used to, and this is pre-pandemic.
You're a part of the problem.
Yeah, maybe. I tend to believe that I'm actually right. So that's what I'm sticking with. But I think maybe we need some preventative measures in society to protect the idiots from everybody else. That's where I'm at. Where it was like, nah, let everybody be everybody.
That's why I've said you lean liberal.
Now I'm at the
you
point.
Lean liberal now.
No, I'm probably more commie than anything else. Where I'm like, nah, you know what? That guy's bugging me because he's across the street yelling. He should be arrested right now.
Soon, you're totally you're gonna go grow oranges in some place.
I do believe
really
that. I think if some guy disrupts my peace while I'm at home, like if I'm having dinner or if I'm watching a Leaf game and there's some kind of event in front of my house, I would call the police to have it shut down. I'd be that old guy who's like, you got to stop this fucking parade in front of my house. I'm trying to watch the Leaf game. Like, that's how I feel inside. That's who I really am. But the pandemic has legitimately outed a certain segment of society, and I believe that you can say that I'm not, as individuals who not only don't give a fuck about anybody else other than themselves, they're a danger to everybody else, including themselves, which is why the government and governments everywhere try to sell prevention as a good idea.
Why are they there, and why are their numbers growing? I mean, that's I think the conversation we need to have.
Because their parents drank a lot. I think they're there because they didn't finish high school. I think they're there
because they're so angry at the over-protectionism of our society, and I think we're pushing them there. And that's why I get a little twitchy when we start shitting all over Jordan Peterson, because that's sort of a talking point of his.
But what, he's a fucking dude. But that is their excuse to get behind like any kind of shitty thing. They'll be like, they can't talk to us like that. Well, I just fucking did. I just did, and I enjoy it. Like, I get fucking hate mail from people when I say, hey, Fox News is going to get canceled. Who gives a shit? People are like,
I think we should care. I think we should care because it's going to separate us even further.
Who cares? If someone can't put up with a fucking one channel being taken off their cable package and they can't fucking source it some other, then you're just a bigger idiot than I thought you were. And you do need government intervention in your life.
Okay. Well, and you might not be wrong, but I mean, I keep trying to get to the source of these
things. I've been wrong for like 6 years. Seriously.
And that's why I also consider you liberal. You know what? Here's the thing that I think we need to start doing. We need to, and again, this goes back to my how we can fix the world, my 3-step plan to fix the entire planet. We were having a conversation about that robot, that Boston Dynamics robot that does the flip. Did you see the video?
Which one, the dog or the human?
The human that does a backflip and then comes and there's a line at the top, the one that I retweeted it a couple of days ago, and I said, what the hell? And I put it out there, and I was really bothered by it because it looks like this robot is being trained to fight.
Oh my God, I've got it right now. I'm going to put it on the screen. Okay. Why were you bothered by it? Because it looks like the robot wants to kill you.
Is this a good thing? I mean, sure, it's happening, but I don't want to know about it. Like, I don't want to know that they're building thousands of these things to take over the planet.
Millions.
So here's the concern I had, right? Like, I sent it out, and then some guy who's obviously smarter than me goes, dummy, that's fake. You can tell from this, this, and this. And then I went back and I looked at the original video, and at the bottom of it, somebody had put in a note that said, this is not real, blah, 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 right? And I was like, oh, okay. So, and then I started to think about it from the perspective of, okay, there's a lot of that kind of stuff out there. Did you know that picture of the Pope in the puffy white jacket was fake?
Yeah, I did.
See, I didn't. I thought that was real, and I'm like, what's that pompous prick doing in a like $25,000 coat? Like, what a dick, right? Like, and so there's more's coming. Like, we're gonna have a lot of problems in our lives with that kind of stuff. Videos, you can get anybody to say anything, fake songs. It's going to be a real issue. We have to prepare ourselves for this new sort of world that we're going to be living. And the thing is how much damage is it going to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, how much damage does seeing the Pope in a puffy white jacket that looks like Kanye West should be wearing it? Do you know what I'm saying?
He looked like, dope in that jacket too. It was down-filled. It was long. It was like a 3/4 length.
I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, that's weird, but let's move on. Like, I'm going to go about my day. Yeah. I'm going to have grilled cheese right now. Yeah. So it wasn't bothered. I was a little bit bothered by the video, right? I have readjusted my life according to how things have changed numerous times. I'll give you another example. If you would have come to my house 15, 20 years ago and asked for money for something, I would have went to my wallet and I would have given you $20. No questions asked. If you come to my door now, I'm like, get off my porch, because I think you're a scam artist. I immediately assume that if you're at my door begging for money,
you've become paranoid now over the last few years. That's not like everybody else. No, dude, it's healthy paranoia. It's like, no, fuck you.
Don't come to my house. Yeah. Don't ask me for money. I don't care what dying children's wish fund thing you're asking for. If I'm going to give money, it's going to be directly to that organization. Do not come to my door. We live in a different world, right? Like, look at all of these charity organizations. They all turn out to be scams. Don't give your money to these people unless you know exactly where that money is going. That's an adjustment. I probably got scammed for like countless times. Now I don't get scammed because I don't give that money to anybody. That's kind of sad, but it's a new reality. And I think we just have to this is the thing that I think. And if somebody stepped up and said this from a political perspective, I would be willing to vote for them. I would definitely be looking at somebody that is hyper focused on empowering people and giving them more control over their lives. And that means also danger, right? If you want to get on your scooter and go 40 kilometers an hour with no helmet, I'm sorry.
Is that you?
I got a helmet today. Bought a helmet. Okay. That's on you. You're the idiot doing that.
Yeah.
And if you have an accident where you crack your head open, that's your problem. Deal with it. Right. And I think we don't live in that world anymore. We're overprotected, and we have forced a certain portion of that
dude,
I'm run from it.
I'm all about hands off. I had a conversation with someone the other day where they were talking about this very thing. It was about Fox News. I put up the tweet. Guys, like, do you think they should actually get rid of it? I'm like, no. I think everybody should be exposed to the same shit. I think everybody should be allowed to make all their own bad decisions. I think people should be allowed to ruin their own lives. And I don't think the government is in any position, or a church or anybody else is in any position to tell you, me, or anyone what that looks like. Right. But I also don't want anybody whining about the fucking consequences of their decisions should they be allowed to, operate on their own and make their own.
That's the other thing that happens.
That's
and that's why
where
we've created
struggle.
this. We've created
Where
this victim society.
We live in a time, again, this is the irony of it, right? The freedom group or the fucking people who are like, hands off my fucking shit, bro. Let me do what I want. Let me not get vaccinated. I don't want to wear that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to do any. I don't want to pay taxes. Great. I think you should be allowed to not do any of those things or do all of those things to your heart's content. But I would really encourage all those people not to be pissy when there are consequences or taxes involved in all of their decision-making processes, like all of them, right? That's the difference.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with consequences.
But they aren't. So when the fucking piper comes around and the decision is made that, hey, I'm going to do X, and you say, okay, well, these things come with that decision, whether it's, a convoy, whether it's stealing, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's not getting vaccinated, then getting sick and being pissed off because you can't get a hospital bed because the hospital beds are fucking rammed. So you blame other people for having a full hospital, or you blame immigration for not being able to get a bed, whatever the situation is. You lose the right to complain when you've made a decision with the full knowledge of the possible consequences that could come from said decision.
But then here's the other part of the equation that doesn't get talked about enough, unless you're surrounded by people that are like-minded in this regard. Whenever money's involved, it immediately throws a wrench into the believability of whatever the cause is. And I think that was the part that I found frustrating with the pandemic, is not that I didn't trust that the vaccine would work, not that I didn't trust that the vaccine was the right thing to do for the overall protection of the public. It's the fact that these companies stood to make billions and billions of dollars, and ultimately that made me question how all the decisions were being made. Right? And so I was a little bit sensitive to that side, the political crazies that were like, I don't trust Big Pharma. I'm not putting that in my arm. I went out and got it immediately. I got the second dose. I got the third dose. I followed all the rules. I wore the damn mask, but I was aware of that other side. And I was very concerned about the ridicule that side was getting for the stance they were taking, because they kind of had a point. Right? Can you really, really trust these decisions that we're making for everybody, for the good of all, when somebody stands to make as much money as they're making from it? And again, the fact that we were unable to have those conversations, I think made it even worse.
Well, because people made their minds up, and then everybody started mocking each other, and then everybody started fighting,
and you push them.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about the overall divide, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I talked to a guy the other day, and we had a conversation. He was like, I got vaccinated. Everybody on my crew got vaccinated. My daughter, when she got a vaccination when she was a young teen, got a very, very serious reaction to it. A nerve thing. Like, it fucked her up big time. Very rare, and a very small percentage of the population is impacted like this from this particular vaccine.
Yeah.
He's not unsensitive to that, right? They were scared because of what they went through with their daughter about vaccinating her, right? But everything she wanted to do, they were saying, you don't have to get vaccinated, but you can actually take part. But they kept saying, we're not forcing you to vaccinate, but we're going to eliminate you from taking part in all these activities that you enjoy because you can't. And she was like, I got a medical situation. Don't care. Then it came down, they actually won an agreement, like on one level they won, and they were able to give her PCR tests. So then she had to leave school every day to go get a PCR test in order to take part in something she's very successful and very good at, right? Because even her doctors were like, no, I don't want you taking this vaccine. Because even if you get COVID, you're probably not going to get sick enough that it's going to have any impact on you. Like you personally, like don't take the spread out of it, but it's not going to impact you. And what you went through from the first time we gave you a vaccine, we don't want to see that again. She was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like they almost lost her.
Yeah.
So,
but hang on, those are, and listen, as you're explaining this story, right? As you're talking
they're
about
few and
this girl,
far between, but they were still out there.
There are nuanced examples, right, of people who deserved empathy, right?
They didn't get it.
I know they didn't get it. By and large, we went the extra mile here to separate people who were trying to make that decision, who were trying to do the right thing, trying to stay safe, keep their family safe, but knew they had legitimate medical concerns, consulted their doctor, and went about their business, right? The people I'm talking about, and
the assholes that took advantage of,
are the people that used it to take advantage of public fear in the public forum, the people that used it to scream fire in a fire hall, people who use it to sell T-shirts, the people who called, those who went out and did their fucking civic duty losers and cucks and fucking sheeple, people who fucking went to rallies, people who generally made the environment unbearable, right? Then so they're pushing back the other way. You got another group pushing back the other way.
Yeah.
And we have this divide. Like, we can talk about the nuanced examples as well. And we can talk about legitimately, which we have, the efficacy of the vaccines. We totally can, which we have, which we've went to great lengths to figure out. But the bottom line is that generally speaking, the people who went above and beyond to be pricks in the last 3 years are all finding out now. They're just all finding out. Tucker Carlson found out. Fox News is finding out. There are people who have maintained for the last, 3 years that the vaccine has like properties in it that turn you into a fucking cell phone tower, who still traditionally believe all that, right? Like we're fucking so far. I am so far past the pandemic. I didn't wear a mask on my trip to fucking Scotland. I didn't wear a mask when I was in Scotland. I didn't wear a mask on an airplane. I got sick when I went there. I got sick when I came back. I get it. I get where we're at. I accept the risk. I have 3 vaccines in me. Totally get it. But I'm tired of talking about all that shit. Like dick nada. Not interested. Because it doesn't matter.
The point I'm making is that we're at a point where I think we have to start having the conversations that we can't have in order to figure out how to get ourselves back. I'm bringing that one up as an example because I think we're still doing it to a certain extent, where if you bring up that conversation or that type of conversation, you're immediately labeled by the audience or whoever's listening to you or whoever's in the room, and you're immediately like ostracized because of it. And I think it's unhealthy. And it brings me back to the Fox thing. Listen, if you censor that in Canada, it's just going to make it bigger and it's going to make it harder to get back, in my opinion. I'm sorry. It would be a huge mistake, and I've never watched a second of it either. I don't even accidentally turn it on. The only time I've ever watched it is when something from their shows goes viral, and I watch a clip of it because I know what it is, and I don't give a shit what they want to say, and I'm not right. I think we have to rely on people making decisions for themselves. And allowing them, listen.
I mean, we got to put up with it. But here it goes back to the same thing all the time. People make decisions from themselves and they don't care if it affects anybody else. It's kind of where we're at.
Right. But it does impact other people, right? Christian brought up an excellent point. You want to ride around locking your scooter with no fucking helmet? Guess who's dealing with you? Me. I'm a firefighter. So now you're putting me out. I should be pissed at you because you're driving around on a scooter with no helmet.
He gets to shovel your brains into a fucking bucket.
Yeah.
It's his job. He gets paid for it. He shouldn't be too upset.
I guess so. So. Anyway.
That's what he does. Anyway. You nervous about tomorrow? You okay? You're down 1-0. Leafs lose last night 0-2.
Man, the Leafs should not have lost that game.
Goaltending.
Is it goaltending or is it defensive neutral zone?
They should have won that game. They should have won that game. Couple bad mistakes. They should have won the game. Bobrovsky is so much better than Sergei Samsonov right now. Who, by the way, said yesterday they asked him. They go, how do you plan on? What do you make of the other guy's play? What do you make of Bobrovsky's play? And Sergei Samsonov Ilya Samsonov was like, I don't give a fuck. He said that today. I was dying laughing.
Well, the thing is, I think. I said this on my show today about the Leafs and Leaf fans. If you woke up this morning and you went, you know what? Just 2 games. We can get them back. We'll go down to Florida. It's not the right time to panic. Unfortunately, I think you guys should be in full panic mode.
We are. I think everybody is. Everybody's losing their minds, especially after the upper of getting out of the first round, like the huge fucking coke fiend that we went on after we fucking got out of the first round.
I thought for sure the Leafs were going to win that game last night. And the fact that they didn't, I think, is a very telling sign about the rest of this. Yeah.
Don't disagree. McDavid injured?
That's a rumor. I don't think so. Have you seen him play?
Yeah. I watched game 1.
He's banged up
in the playoffs. He's banged, like everybody's banged up, but zero production.
Well, it's not about, for me, does Leon get 4 goals the other night without McDavid's play? No.
Probably not.
So you have to look at it from that perspective, right? I think McDavid just creates space and changes the flow of a game. If he gets the puck on his stick, it's over, right? Like it's a race, right?
They got any extra police on duty for tonight's watch party or tomorrow night's watch party?
I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you, because Shania Twain apparently is in town, so I don't know how they're going to handle that downtown thing. I think they did say they were gonna they are not letting kids in to the watch parties. So if you're under 18, you're hooped. There's also a conversation about people being having to go through like a security line or something before you go in.
Oh yeah, get a pat down and go through like a screening device that says whether or not you've got weapons on you. Because wasn't the issue in the last watch party all the stabbings and people biting each other's fingers off?
There was one guy biting somebody, and then there was another Lugan that was stabbing people for some reason. I don't even know what the story is. And then the cop just walked. It was a bizarre video. The cop just walked up and shot him right in front of everybody. So it was bizarre. Did you see the video?
No, I'm gonna try and bring it up.
It was a there's another Positive Mike just brought up another family so when you have a problem here in Edmonton, we'll just create a family fun zone for everybody. Jesus Christ. So they're doing man, you know what that might do? It might alleviate the numbers around the Rogers place too, right? So maybe by dragging a couple hundred people down to Churchill Square, right? Maybe the families that were going to go there with their kids, who's taking their kids fucking party though. Anyway,
Edmonton Oilers, the chief of police in Edmonton Oilers Entertainment Group issued a warning to Edmontonians today. Did you see this? Issued a warning to Edmontonians who disrupt or harm others during watch parties in the Ice District after a number of incidents. Quote, there's some unacceptable things that happen, and we need to nip that in the bud going forward. Those unacceptable things, videos of social media showing several fans pushing a barricade into the Ice District Plaza. A police officer shooting a man, they say stabbed 2 people, and another gentleman, quote, biting everyone.
So here's the thing. It's unfortunate you got a couple of lunatics that can't handle their booze and maybe are already on the verge of mental illness. And do you shut the whole thing down? Honestly, that's what I thought the city would do, because that's how we react now, rather than actually find a solution.
Well, I know, but it's so Edmonton.
We overprotect.
Say, no, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep this up. Sure, we had a shooting.
But it's just a couple of people,
a couple stabbing, some biting.
Right? Like,
I know. I get it. I get it. Good luck.
It is what it is.
Are you gonna go down there for it?
No, not
no
in
desire
a
to be in a
years.
sea
I went
of
to a bar
people.
last Saturday for the Kings win,
yeah,
Game 6 win, and we walked into Sherlock, my little drinking spot over here, and dude, it was awesome. There's hardly anybody in there. It was half full because everybody's going to these watch parties. It's packed. There's like thousands of people down there. It's crazy.
Are they opening up the actual stadium for it too? Or are they opening?
Well, no, not tonight. I think because Shania Twain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
she's in concert, so I don't think. But that's what they're also selling that out just as a watch party. So last Saturday for that Game 6, they had the 2 watch parties. The one in the Ford Center, then they had one in the Ice District. I don't know which one's bigger. One is like a food bank donation thing. You got to pay some money to get in. And I think they have a little more facilities and a little more access to booze and stuff like that. So people like want to go to the Ford. Then there's the outside one on the concrete where everybody's going crazy, just like the Leafs one that you guys have downtown, right? Right downtown.
Yeah.
And
Maple Leaf Square.
Yep. Yeah, Maple Leaf Square. So that was, both of those were packed, but then the entire building was sold out, and it sold out in minutes, and they're $5 tickets, and they watched the game on the big screens. And that was, so there's going to be a whole bunch of people that can't go to that because of the Shania Twain concert. So maybe there will be some money thrown back into the local bar scene here.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Remember that when we used to go to bars and watch games? Remember that?
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. We haven't done it for 3 years. I might go to a bar and watch tomorrow night's game. Or is it Sunday? I think the Leafs are playing Sunday, actually.
I think the Leafs are playing Sunday.
Yeah, they get a couple of days off. They're down in Florida on Sunday.
Honestly, I will say this. As much as I love to tease the Leaf fans, I think Leaf fans should expect a win on Sunday, Game 3 in Florida.
Watch this. You watching me? I don't do this often. Watch this. The Leafs are going to win on Sunday. They're going to win on Tuesday. They're going to come back here and win again on Thursday.
Be up 3-2?
No, then they're going to lose again. Then they're going to come home and win it 7. You heard it here first. Book it. Mark my words. Mark it. I don't know how you do it. Sharpie. Don't care. Type it.
I think Edmonton and Vegas are going to trade games.
I hope so.
I think they're going to go back and forth. Okay. Yeah, because Vegas is too good of a team to just roll over. But Edmonton lost that game. They beat themselves on the other night, Game 1. Wednesday night in Vegas. Stupid mistakes, right? Same thing with the Leafs. I saw too many stupid mistakes. You can't play like that.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Leafs on Sunday. Oilers tomorrow night. Thanks for doing this, dude. Great to see you. Lockman Cross 957
back
Cruise
Monday.
FM in Edmonton. He's back on Monday. Next week we have Matt Navarre from Gizmodo, I think. Matt Navarre, who's great. He's going to talk to us a little bit about social media and the future of social media, where it's going.
Let's get the
what's
name
going
right,
on now.
just because it sounds like.
He's a good guy. Just confirmed that today. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for doing this, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Can I make one quick little plug for the show?
Yeah.
We're doing the Locker Room Mother of the Year contest, and we start next week where we're taking submissions. You go to the webpage, 957 Cruise FM.
Was that nice?
There's a nice little prize pack for your mom if she wins. She gets to hang out with the Locker Room on the day after Mother's Day.
Oh.
Right? Okay.
That'll be odd.
Yeah. And yeah.
And, like coming to watch you do the show in the studio.
Hall party.
A lucky mom is going to be able to come in and sit down, watch you drink 4 beers while you do your radio show.
We were drinking today, actually.
Why do you think I said what I said?
Well,
I listened to your
Grant isn't
program.
drinking.
Yeah.
Grant isn't drinking.
Oh, is he
right
still
now.
off the sauce?
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's hanging in there.
Is he getting
And you know what he
stressed out?
isn't?
Is he
He
getting
isn't one of
jumpy
those
or like angry or triggery? Is he like one of those
No,
guys?
because I think he's hard on the pot. That's just my
boy.
guess is that
Yep.
he is like at night, he might, have an edible or a little puff in the backyard.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of like evening him out a bit. But it's been since St. Patrick's Day or the beginning of March. So he's been going. He's gone
Fucking
longer
wild.
than I've gone my whole life.
That must have been some hangover the day after St. Patrick's Day for him to still be off the piss.
Well,
Huh?
he's got a pregnant wife at home too, so I think he's
Oh.
motivated to show that he can be a responsible human being, which up until now has probably been questioned by her and others.
I get it. He got the warning shot over the bow. He got a war. He's like, he probably came home that St. Patrick's Day night geared, and she did one of these. Really? And she's at home
Thing is
pregnant,
with
drinking
women-
lemon ginger tea. And he's like, "Where's the ravioli?" When he busts through the fucking front door. "Do we have any more rye?" She's like, "Why are you doing this?" I know this from experience. So she's probably, "Why are you doing this to me? I've been home all day." And he's like, "I just asked for ravioli and not a fight." And then all of a sudden you got 3 kids and you're divorced and you're giving someone 20 grand a month in fucking alimony. What happened? I didn't want to. What did I just say?
That sounded oddly personal. Now, here's the thing about that is
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it was a situation like that for Grant.
Okay.
Because I know Michaela, and I know her to know that she probably didn't need to say anything. She probably just needed to look at him. And sometimes we get looks from our significant others that say more and show more disappointment in our actions than anything that comes out of their face hole.
Oh, dude, sometimes a look can make you literally question your existence, right?
I
When
wonder
you're with
where
another
women
person.
learn that, because
Their
I
mothers.
didn't, it wasn't a class or something in school, but most women I know have this ability to just stare you down and with their expression show you their ultimate contempt for you.
And it's not anger. It doesn't
No, it's
look
just
like
it's
anger.
disappointment.
It just it's disappointment to the point where you
Mi-
question your existence as a human being. I've had that look before where it's like she'll stare at you and continue to stare at you, and you're like, she sees you get uncomfortable, and you're like, and then you start going through the Rolodex of recent experiences or decisions you may have made that led to that moment, and you start going, it couldn't be that. No, it could be that. No, it can't be the other thing. No. And then you finally land on a word, and she's like, "Really?"
Yeah,
you're
really
like,
is a good one. Yeah,
really?
I've had
I
the
don't know what
really.
you're talking about. The one thing that I got that I can't stand, and I still can't stand it, is when you're like, "Okay, I see you're upset. Okay, see it. I can see it because you're staring at me, and it's very uncomfortable, and I get it.
Yeah.
What's wrong? If you don't know, I'm not telling you." Well, we're at an impasse then because I legitimately don't know. But even as I said that, I got PTSD. My hands started to sweat. Remember that one?
Really?
If you don't know,
I don't get that.
I'm not
I don't,
telling you.
I don't get that
Or
from Deborah.
oh, she tells you? No problem. She'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
right out and say it.
She's a sharer.
Lachlan Cross,
And
957.
also, she also has a
cruisefm.ca.
really strong memory for things I've done. Dates, times,
Does she really?
years.
November
I swear to
3rd,
God, there's a
2014. Lachlan, do you remember that date?
There may be a
6
Rolodex
p.m.?
somewhere.
Right. Good luck. Have fun being married. I'll talk to you soon. Lachlan Cross, 957 cruisefm.ca is where you can find him. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter. That's it for us. Here's the robot Lach was talking about that is teaching people how to fight. I really upset him, that fake video of the fighting Boston Dynamic robot. I had to tell him it was real today. Anyway, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Have a great weekend. I want to thank our sponsors, including my friend Colin at CanTorque. I was lucky enough to be on his podcast last night, Talking Torque. You can download, subscribe wherever you get it. Talks about racing, talks about being a Canada's assembly tool expert. That's what he does out of Edmonton. Brought all his manufacturing back from overseas in recent years. He believes in Canada, employs Canadians, and they make rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches, Canada's leading industrial tool experts. offering you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, and custom fabrication of industrial torque tools, no matter the scale of your bolting project. My friend Colin Livingston, his engineers, his fabricators, his employees have your solution. Go to cantork.com today to learn more. Speaking of learning more, this program brought to you by Gitch. You need to learn about these underwear because they will change your life. edsfineimports.com is where you can buy them, and you can use promo GITCH3 when you check out. You'll get a free pair of underwear. Gitch is engineered for any level of performance as well as everyday life. Super soft, very breathable, barely there comfort, designed with your movement in mind. And right now, Ed has luxury boxer briefs from Gitch on sale and in store in a variety of different colors and sizes. Go there now. Order online. Use promo code GITCH and the number 3 when you check out. My friend Ed will sell you a free pair. That's right. One free pair. If you buy 3, you'll get one more for free when you use GITCH3 at checkout. Go to edsfineimports.com for more information. And yet, of course, our friends at kivlaw.ca, defense attorneys that keep you out of trouble, top criminal defense lawyers in St. Catharines, Southern Ontario, that keep you as free as humanly possible through your legal experience and then help you get your life back. That's the idea. If you need a great criminal attorney, go to kivlaw.ca, speak to a lawyer, hit the button on the front page, or email my friend Rob. He's the principal. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Again, Robert at kivlaw.ca, Kivlaw Defense Attorneys. Get your life back. Get legal help 24/7 by going to kivlaw.ca today. Have a great day, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to smash subscribe, say something nice wherever you get our podcast, Google, Apple, Spotify, etc., as well as YouTube, Dean Blundell Show, Twitch, Dean Blundell TV. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. No, we won't. Fuck, we'll see you Monday. 4 o'clock. That's when we'll see you. Bye.